I'm doing great, having been home for 1 week from Costa Rica, which was the site of our 2014 Youth on a Mission trip. Well, Youth on a Mission is an organization. It was the vision of the president, Carlos L. Moody. After he returned from the mission field, he noticed that missionaries were coming home and there needed to be a void filled. So he came up with the concept of sending young people for 2 weeks to the mission field so that they could be exposed to mission work, to provide support to the work that had been started, and also to hopefully encourage some of young people to eventually go into full-time mission work. It takes place in July. We found that that's the best time to accommodate high school students and college students. And so every July we go for 2 weeks. When people ask about requirements, we require a letter of reference from their pastor. They have to pay their own expenses, and there's a mandatory 6-hour training session that takes place at the AIM convention on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 until 11. So there are really not any specific requirements. We find that 12, 13, and 14-year-old young people, youth, adjust a little more easily to sometimes the very unique situations that we find ourselves in. And of course, the high school students and college students can adjust more readily. To give an example, we went to the rainforest that required 10 hours of travel on a bus. We had to cross a river in a boat, and then cross a river in a canoe, and then we had to trek up a mountain for an hour and a half to visit the indigenous people. So sometimes children who are quite young could not maybe have endured such a long trip. Well, the cost of this trip was $1,600. When we go to Africa, of course, it's more because the airfare is more. So I would tell people to expect a cost of anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. Well, I think there are several things that they get. My daughter has been going since she was 11 months old, and she is a very caring person. So what happens when you go into a culture where there's extreme poverty and you're given an opportunity to assist in that situation, it makes you very sensitive to the needs of other people. And that's very important for children who come from an environment where they are exposed to many opportunities and they're exposed to many material things. So that's one way of helping. Another way it helps is that it broadens our young people's perspective in terms of a global perspective. So many young people use this on their college applications. I know of several young people who've gotten full scholarships in college because they've had this experience on their resume or their college application. And what it says is that when you're applying, say, for a scholarship or college, what makes you different from any other student? Because all students have a certain grade point average or they have a good ACT score. So what makes your application, your scholarship application, your college application rise above the others? And so when you can tell the committee, or you can write an essay that says, I've spent 2 weeks in a foreign country, that makes you different from other young people. One, they're much more appreciative of America. And I know when we came back with this group, they were just smiling and said, oh, how grateful we are to be an American. That's one way. I think it also deepens their spiritual commitment because they've had to, during this trip, spend a lot of time in devotions. For some young people, there was a young lady who was possessed, demon possessed. So for many young people, that's the first opportunity that they have to see maybe a deliverance service on the mission field. Also, they've had the opportunity of ministering and witnessing to other young people and adults. So they come back and they're more comfortable with going out and doing street ministry. So it benefits them in many ways. Many children or youth have come back and they are very committed now to serving those that are less fortunate in their own home community. So for many people who say, well, we need to work at home first, I think when you go abroad, you develop a comfort zone that helps you to come back, or I should say skill sets that helps you to come back and be better equipped to minister to those less fortunate in your own community, and certainly you have a greater level of sensitivity. Well, one would be to sponsor young people. Several of the young people that went on the trip were sponsored by their local churches. And so that's very helpful. Some jurisdictions sponsor. So it would be important that if people are interested in supporting the young people to pay all or part of their expenses, that certainly would be helpful. We have one church, Mount Rose Church of God in Christ in Crosby, Texas. They sent a team of 14 people this year, and they spend all year raising funds through car washes, through a prayer breakfast, different events, raising money to help to underwrite the team members that come. So it has now become a church focus, and that church is very, very mission minded, not only on the local level, but also on the international level. So I see it as impacting not just the people that come, but also the local church when they become involved. Well, certainly this is giving us the opportunity to share with laity what we do, because many people in the Church of God in Christ have never heard of Youth on a Mission. So through this campaign, we can certainly expose people to the opportunity that we are involved in missions. First of all, many people don't know that Church of God in Christ is in 62 countries around the world. And so it's a way of educating people that we are around the world, and here's an opportunity for young people, and not only young people, but mature adults go with us as well. So it opens it up to the fact that we are involved in missions. Many people in Church of God in Christ support other mission organizations because they don't know that we have an active missions program. So with the laity program, this certainly will help us to get more support from those within our ranks who do support missions of other denominations. Well, the final words that I would give to them, that if you are a person who likes adventure, this is an excellent opportunity for you to be involved in an organization, in a group, an auxiliary, where you will develop relationships. When you live with people for 2 weeks, they become your friends for life. And so if you want to improve your walk with God, and if you want to have friends from all over the world, this is a great opportunity for you. When we see each other at various conventions, we just scream and yell because we have a family that there's a bond that's developed that cannot be broken. It's been a blessing in that he has provided us an opportunity. The vision of Bishop Moody is that the legacy of having youth go to different countries and to minister is what he wants to continue. Well, Bishop Blake sends young people from his church, his local church, and they help underwrite the cost every year. They send not only youth, but they also send an adult chaperone. So he has supported Youth on a Mission over the years. Well, I have committed my life to this work, and I'm very excited about it. I've been doing it since 1989 when I was appointed to be the coordinator. And I tell people it's my second job. So it's a life's experience because I was an educator for a large urban district, and everyone knew that in July I was going to be on the mission field. So I think it sends a message that while I was committed to my secular job, that I was also committed to the work of the gospel around the world. And so that has opened many, many doors for me. And so it's been just an exciting walk as I take young people and adults every year to a different country. I tell people I never was good at geography, but as we go to different places, for me, it's an education that I learned not only the geographies, but also the culture of people. Who would have thought that we would have traveled 12 hours to meet the Bribri tribe in Costa Rica, the mountains of Costa Rica, that have recently become Christians? That's just awesome. And for some of us, we see this as a sign that when these, what we call unreached people groups, hear the gospel, the Lord is soon to come. So we all need to be a part of making sure that the gospel reaches every corner of the earth. And the Church of God in Christ is doing that. Well, I tell people that there's an opportunity for everyone to be engaged. So there are 5 ministries. One is Vacation Bible School, where we teach children lessons about the Bible, the plan of salvation, using child evangelism fellowship's approach of using colors. And this is very helpful when there's a language barrier, because we were not very proficient in Spanish. We can use colors to present the gospel. We have puppets, we have clowns, we do arts and crafts, we have balloons, we do face painting. So we do a full-blown Vacation Bible School, which brings in the young people in the community. We also have a medical team, and the medical team gives blood pressure checks. They check for diabetes. We have glasses. There was a great request for glasses this year. And usually what we find is that we identify people who might have elevated blood pressure, elevated diabetes, or as one young woman came to us, she was losing her sight, and we asked them to go to their doctor and seek further medical attention. Sometimes we even paid, as we did with this one young lady. We gave her $100 in order for her to purchase glasses. We have given money to purchase medication. So we get outside of the box in terms of not just diagnosing what the issues may be, but if there's some financial assistance, we try to provide that. We have an extensive evangelism program. Not only do we attend different churches, this year we went to 3 different churches and provided service, but we did street ministry. It was the national holiday in Costa Rica, and they allowed us to come and share the gospel at the festival on stage. So for 1 hour, we had church, if you can believe that. I don't know many opportunities that we would have in the United States to share the gospel. Another way that we share the gospel is through a soccer game. So we play soccer with several youth leagues in Costa Rica as a way of sharing the gospel. The young people come to church to meet us. We establish relationships. And of course, we leave some soccer balls. So at each church, we left 4 or 5 soccer balls. We have a hospitality committee where people bring different things such as flip-flops and school supplies, and they distribute that to the people who come to the clinic. Also, we give gifts to each one of the pastors that we work with. And then finally, the one of the major projects is we always sponsor a construction project. This year, we were able to give $10,000 to do construction at 6 churches. So at one church where they wanted us to add onto the back, which would have been over a cliff, we said it would be better if you could buy the property or the house next door. So we gave $3,000 and were able to purchase the house next door to expand the church. The other church, we put in a septic tank, and we put in a cement floor to add some classrooms. In Superintendent Sanchez's church, we put up a wall so that he could expand his church and add a parking lot. Another church, we ran out of time, but we did provide money for them to paint. So we try to do a variety of ministries, and it gives everyone on the team an opportunity to participate. And many of them participate in all 5 of the ministries.